this guy where it was two cars like rammed up like between him. I guess he was trying to, and then they were just like, hitting the gas and everything. And just like, I get, he was trying to see how strong he was, like just for the views.
Yeah.
Like, why people like, what is the mindset behind it? Why do people?
Well, you think of social media in general, why we're on there, right? We're on social media because, and well, now more than ever, likes and views. I mean, how often do we hear those words, likes, views, comments? All of those things are so important, but they're more important to some than others, right? Everybody wants, a little bit of attention when you're on social media, but some people need more than others. And so when you do something like that, what happens is everybody's looking at what you're doing. People, somebody might be on the edge of their seat trying to figure out what you're doing. Then somebody else is trying to do it. And then it's like, we talk about, being flattered by, invitation. And so it's like, oh, somebody saw me doing this and now they're doing it. And so the mindset is, it feeds my need for attention. And, that's a big part of it. So if somebody says that they're doing it and they're not doing it for attention, then why are you sharing it? Do you know what I mean? Like,
Right,
if you don't need
exactly.
it, if there's no need for attention, and needing attention is not always a bad thing. It's like, it may be what motivates you. It may be something that just like drives you. But, I think some of these things need disclaimers, because maybe you've practiced doing this thing, you know, more times than someone else who thinks that they can just go out and do it. And so I think, the responsible thing to do is to let somebody know that, hey, this is not easy. And we have to be careful about trying everything we see on social media, because, not everything's real, and not everything's meant for us.
Now, sometimes it is real, like it could be something serious. Like with this, I don't know if you know about the Migos situation. There was like a video that went out. I know Takeoff,
Yeah,
he died,
unfortunately.
and there was a video going around with, I guess, his dead. Somebody had filmed his dead body, blood all around it. Like people do this, not just with this situation, with other stuff too. It's like why do you think people do that? It's kind of.
You know, sometimes people love to be in the know, to be the first to share. Again, social media really plays on our lack of impulse control, right? Because sometimes, just think, all it takes is pressing a button and now things are out there to thousands of people. And even if you go back and delete it, maybe somebody has already screenshot it, somebody has already shared it, somebody has already done something. So it's like the gift that keeps on giving once you put it out there. And it's really like just not thinking. I try not, I mean, if when somebody even sends me something like that, I don't need to see that. That's not something that, yeah, do I watch movies, blood and gore? That's one thing. But do I want to see, like, this is a person's life, and you have people who are grieving, and we're taking and we're doing something, like we're finding something like this to do with it, rather than showing respect, but we're saying we're just sharing information. Again, we have to be careful about the information that we're sharing, and think about, why are we sharing this information? Like, what is the message that we're trying to get out when we share this information? Because it's not, the message is not always good. Sometimes the message is just like, this is about me. I saw it, so I'm going to share it with you. And again, that may be the bad side of the attention seeking behavior.
Yeah, and it goes. So why do you think people like share? I know because it could be serious, but is it for sometimes it's just for marketing purposes. Now with this whole like Kanye situation,
Yeah.
like what do you think about that? Like is what do you what's your thoughts on that?
I absolutely, like, can't stand the whole concept of cancel culture, right? It just bugs me. It's one thing to have your opinion, which we do, and that's fine, but it's another to think that somebody should no longer exist because you disagree with them or they've said something that you found appalling or because of their actions. I mean, their lives deserve to be ripped apart. I am not anti-Kanye. I don't mind saying that. And I don't think, I don't agree with everything that's happening to him. I also don't agree with everything that he says, but there are a lot of people I don't agree. I probably wouldn't, have any friends or communicate with anybody if I was only looking to be around people who I agreed with all the time or who shared my views. I think that between 2020 and now, we have seen some of the most divisive situations and witness, and then as far as topics. And I think that it's a matter of respecting space, and we need to be more tolerant. Of course, if is like, Stephen, if you say something that I disagree with, and it's like really, really something that I feel strongly about, I just may not need to talk to you about that. And then maybe I won't talk to you for a few days because I'm like, I can't believe he thinks like this. And because that's just how much it triggers me. But is it worth never speaking to you again, or worth saying insulting things to you that I just can't take back? And that's what I'm seeing a lot of that now. But I think it has to do with our lack of tolerance. We're very, very intolerant, and we're divided. So you're either on this team or you're on that team. And then when you fall out with because something's gonna come up within that one team, a topic's gonna come up that's gonna divide you. And then you're gonna go back to the other team because they're gonna move over. So I think what we should learn from that is that it's okay to disagree. We're not going to all agree on politics, religion, other people's views, celebrities. We don't know, unless you know Kanye or anybody else you feel strongly about in real life, then then let it go.
Right. It's just some people, you have some people that disagree and they just disagree. Then you have some people, they disagree and then they take it to social media.
Yeah.
So what,
Well, that's what most are taking it.
what do you
Social
think?
media is like taking it to the streets, right?
Yeah, exactly. Like, so why do you think people do that? Like, it's the mental behind that.
It's that you think about, if you're on social media, you think about, there was a time you like have an argument with somebody, you get into it, and there was a time where you didn't have that opportunity to argue with strangers that long at all. But now social media allows us to remain engaged in something, no matter, whether it's healthy or unhealthy. So again, I go back to, if just say something that really triggers me, and I can really go on social media, I can talk about you, I can tell people I'm blocking you, and I can do this from sun up to sundown. And I've seen that happen where a, a topic is so popular that I can go to sleep and wake up again, and it's still like it's like the first thing on my timeline, right? Because, and then, now there's 300. It went from, maybe it started out 50, 50 comments. Now it's up to 300, and I'm like, wow. So everybody's like weighing in. And then sometimes there's like two people just going back and forth. And that's really because we want to be heard. Once you trigger us, and so that's the bad thing. A lot of people don't have that ability to walk away from a hot button issue. It's like, okay, you got me triggered, and I'm not walking away from this. Now, some people can say, no, I don't care one way or another. I admire those people. But, a lot of times once you're triggered. And if the conversation goes on, from 3 p.m. to 3 a.m., then you're in it. You might take a break, but you're coming back after work or something, or you're telling everybody about it. One way or another, it's consuming you. And it's because is triggering. It, it's something going on here, and you feel that's making you feel so passionate about this. And I think sometimes when we're triggered by somebody else's issue, we need to figure out, like, why do we relate so much to that? How does this situation mirror us? Because a lot of times there's something about it that does.
Yeah, yeah, you're right. And so if it's not anything that is you can relate to, then it probably won't like trigger, people only do things that sound that is just that sounds good and that is just crazy.
Hmm. Yeah.
Why why do you think people do that? Is it because people they just want excitement out of their life? They feel like they're just
Yeah.
their life is their
Yeah.
movie.
Most of us, is kind of like when we have this need to feel happy. We have certain needs in life, and we want to feel happy, we want to feel love, we want to feel accepted, right? And so that's why the whole, well, I don't care what anybody else thinks, I think for most that's only true to a certain extent. We do sort of care, because a lot of times we do things, or if we're thinking before we do something, it's because what somebody else might think. And it's okay to want to feel happy and excited. And so if you find that sweet spot, that sweet situation, and you're putting it out there and people are responding to it, it's like that behavior becomes reinforced. It's like, so I'm going to do this again and again because it works for me. It works for me, and people are very receptive to it, and it makes me feel good. And it just works until it doesn't. And so sometimes, you think of like a drug that you may need more and more of it to achieve that same feeling. And so you take it to another level. You take things to another level because you can't leave well enough alone. You're like, okay, well, if I got, this just from doing this, well, let's see what happens when I do that times 100, and
Right.
the outcome, bigger is not always better. I'll just say that.
Right. So if someone is they flash money on the gram on Facebook, do you think that that person is they just they're not something is happening going on in their life, whether their financial is, they're not financially stable? Do you think that person is faking it because they actually want to become successful, but they don't want to put the work in? Like,
Yeah, we can be anybody we want to be, right? On social media. So, but the people who know us in real life, and who see us on a regular basis, they may know, the truth. Some people do it because it's just something to do, right? There's no deep thought into it, no deeply rooted issues. They do it because it's like, hey, let me just, this is going to get me some likes. This is, I'm going to make a video or something like that. And then for some, it may be overcompensating. Like, oh, they think I don't have this and they think I don't have that. And that's out of frustration. And when you're doing things like that out of frustration, that energy comes across. And so you may not get the same feedback as somebody who did it just out of like real fun, or let me do this because, this is what I do. Some people are doing it for show. And when you are doing something for show, it's not as rewarding. Like, how you really feel. And it's just not as rewarding. If you've ever done something to prove a point, and you're frustrated while you're in the process of doing it, that energy carries over, right? And so you need to at least find a way to be happy about what you're doing, because if you're just doing it out of anger and frustration, it comes across in your message, and you probably won't get what you were looking to get out of it.
yeah, because I that's what I want to do more is I want to actually think about than being I need to be more proactive. I want to actually think about my decisions
Mm-hmm.
because, I'm in my emotions, and that can cause that I could do something stupid, like post it, my feelings, and everybody knows, and it just make me look, really.
Yeah, if you're doing something from an emotional stance, you really do have to be careful. We talk about, like you talk about putting the phone down when you're under the influence or, not doing certain things. But I think that we underestimate the power of the mind. Like our emotions can be so strong that, I mean, people can, I mean, like emotional blackout is sort of what I call it, because you do things that you maybe would not do if you weren't under the influence of those emotions. And so if you can just start to, and that's where that self-awareness comes in, right? So you're not just so quick to react to everything that comes up. Even when you're happy, you don't have to be so quick to do something about that, but just take a minute to reflect. Just reflect on what's going on with you, what's going on in your life, and then your emotions don't catch you so off guard. People don't catch you off so guard. You're not as easily triggered because you already know. It doesn't mean you won't be triggered at all, but you already know what you're likely to respond negatively to when it comes up. And so just having that awareness, I mean, we just need to build our self-awareness. That is really that emotional intelligence. We'll still feel anger, we'll still feel all the things, we'll still cry, we'll still do all the things, maybe even go off on somebody, but you feel more in control of what's going on rather than feeling guided by everything that comes up and everybody that comes up that offends you.
Yeah, I mean, you could actually be happier that way. I notice people are more that actually, people in my life that they actually, they think before they speak. I notice that they're happier and more happy. Not like they don't have the perfect life, but
Yeah.
because nobody is perfect, but I notice they are more calm and they are just make better decisions that way.
Yeah, I think that when we and it's a work, I think, it's a work in progress. And I think that once you accept that you're a work in progress, there's no once I get here. When you get to that special place, that place that that's ideal for you, you're going to still be a work in progress. And so I think that if we can just recognize that, we'll be happier, because then you accept where you are right now. Find something that's great about your life right now. And even if you say, well, there's nothing, there's something, find something. And even if it's your mindset, even if it's the thrill of planning for the future, whatever gets you going, you find something now that you love about your life. Because what will happen is, if you're expecting that, that future point, that future location, that future person or whatever is going to be the thing that you get that really makes you happy, you're probably going to be disappointed when you get there. Because I always say, wherever you go, there you are. And so you don't suddenly change because you reach this destination. And what happens is, people get there and they're like, why am I not happier? I thought I would be happier here. Well, you didn't accept yourself back here. So what's going to make you really accept yourself now? That's just not how we work. And our minds really don't work like that. It's like, you know, with law of attraction talks about giving you more of what you're already putting out there. So if you're putting bad things that, like, I don't deserve this, I don't deserve that, then it's like, okay, well, you're saying you don't deserve it, you don't deserve it. But if you're saying I do, I do, I do, then you do. And so we just have to work on us.
Oh yeah, definitely. Just I never thought about that because it's like, okay, when people they say, oh, I'll be happier when I get money, a lot of money, is they're not enjoying, like you said, they're not enjoying the ride there. And when they get it, they're still not happy.
Yeah. Yeah, because they're frustrated. I'm that person who I I do enjoy the ride there because, I get to, because, and I get to, of course, I want to get there. All of us want to be able to snap our fingers and be there, but just enjoying the process. If you're doing something and it makes the thought of having whatever it is that you're working on, if it makes you happy, that's a good sign. But if you're constantly overwhelmed and frustrated with the process, that may not be a good sign. Then you may need to rethink your plans, like, why am I doing this? But you need to be happy in the process, whether it's, getting money, hitting the lottery, whatever it is. You need to have, you need to find some sense of hope and inspiration rather than just desperation. You need to come from that more positive place, because when you're coming from that other place, you end up in the same situation most of the time.
You're
You
right,
may have
because
those things, but you may still not be happy. And that's when people are saying, what's wrong with him or what's wrong with her? They have all this and they're still complaining. Well, that's usually what's wrong.
right, because I mean, you're right, because I've been in a situation where it's like you said, desperate. I never, because I'm not really inspired. Like, I was taking a class, like, sometimes people, they take classes just because, like, the desperate need of, like, look, I want this television job or this broadcasting job, but only just because of the money. Is like, you're supposed to be, wanting, for experience, or, to do
Exactly.
better in your craft. So it's like, yeah, you're totally right about like you said, desperation
Mm-hmm.
instead of
Yeah.
inspiration.
We have to we really do have to find a way to change our mindsets, not for anybody else, but for us. And, I work on that every day, and so I encourage other people to work on that every day, because sometimes people challenge you when you try to encourage them to do something like that. Well, why am I supposed to do this? And I shouldn't have to do this. All of those things, all of those types of thoughts hold us back. We constantly resist working on ourselves in that sense. We think that what we do on the outside, externally, what people can see, then that's enough. No, we have to work on our mindset. That right there is so important to our mental health. Very, very important.
And also, like, with some people, like YouTube channels, or people, like I said, people that flex and show fast cars, and it's out of desperation. And then when it doesn't work, they get, frustrated. But the people that are actually successful actually, put the work in, they keep posting videos, every day, and be consistent with it. And you can see that their attitude, their demeanor, like, they're actually enjoying it. Those are the
Yes.
ones most successful right there. But the people that just want the microwave quick buck success, it's like you don't see those people no more. You see them, it's like they're gone in like 2 weeks,
Hmm.
1 month.
Exactly. That's a great point. And, I always say, when you want something and you're trying to set a goal, this is something that can be difficult to do, but don't focus on the how. Because you ever wanted something and you're like, yeah, you're all excited about it, and then you start thinking about all the things you need to get it, and then you're like, okay, never mind, forget it, I don't need this. That is really the part that holds us back. We're thinking about the how. So when you think about successful people, a lot of times they put something out there because they found some confidence, or they had people around them that, were confident enough in them to help them and to support them. And so they put it out there. And guess what? They start to attract the people and the circumstances and the opportunities that's needed for them. But if they had to plan on, okay, I'm going to meet this person, I'm going to meet this person, that's too overwhelming because you don't know. But if you just have enough confidence in yourself and you're excited about it, you're passionate about it, and you put it out there, without focusing on the how, like let part of it be, I'm doing this for me. And then you're going to end up surrounded by all the people that you need. You know, that's been my experience in life. And I hear a lot of people saying that. But when we start thinking, we need to be involved in everything, every step of the way, and figuring out, okay, now I need to figure out how to connect with this person, or I need to figure out how to go sit at this table. No, like start building your own table first and start making yourself an asset to people, not just the how are other people going to help me. Think of it, how am I going to help these other people? Because you're already an asset, but you have to see yourself that way and present yourself that way. And then everything will start to fall into place. It's not going to be the microwave way, but it will eventually start to fall into place.
Yeah, I was like, it's funny you said that. It's like attracting people of how, what, like you say, your confidence from an experience you get around from other people. I was watching this movie, I don't know, that new Top Gun, and it's like when
Oh, okay.
you overthink stuff, it won't work. Like
Yeah,
the guy, he said, I don't know if it was Tom Cruise or whatever, he said, don't think, just do it. And then like,
yeah,
because he was very unsuccessful when he just was overthinking when he got in that plane. And then when finally he was like, you know what, I'm not gonna think. That's when I think he shot the
yeah,
plane down.
yeah.
So
Sometimes, and overthinking, when we overthink, it can do way too much damage. I mean, yes, you do need to think things through. You do need to consider, but when we get into all of this thinking about like all the worst case scenarios and we're not thinking of any of the best case scenarios, then that can be a bad thing. I remember being in a yoga class one time and the teacher said something like, it was a quote and I can't remember exactly what it was, but it was like, don't think too much. Your brain is trying to hijack your body or something. Like basically like, this is a tough class, it's 100 degrees in here or more, and if you let your brain get in the way, you're going to fall out of the posture because your brain is going to start telling, you're going to start overthinking, this is too hard, I'm hot, I can't do this, and all those types of things. So you really do need to focus on not allowing yourself to overthink and letting all of those irrational thoughts take over, because it happens all the time.
yeah, yeah, definitely. And so basically think is like, I'm not saying don't think about before to not and like before for emotions and stuff, think before you react, but don't think to, if you want to, I'm just trying to like gauge it, think about it before you
Yeah,
react.
think about your
Yeah.
thinking is what I say. Think about your thinking, and you do that before you get to wherever you think it is you need to be or where you're going. That's something you do every day. Like, and think about your thinking. It's because, are you that person? Are you anxious because you tell yourself that, are you trying to control every situation? Are you depressed because you tell yourself you're not good enough? Or you're telling yourself this won't work out for you? Like what are your thoughts telling you, and why? Like why is it that, so we call it in psychology, it's referred to as a schema. We have these sets of thoughts and ideas that we can go through life with, even subconsciously, and they dictate how we respond to situations, who our friends are, and like how we interact with people. And so if we never get to the point of thinking about all of that, we can continue to be in a state of sadness, depression, worry, anxiousness, and all of that without really even knowing why. So what are your thoughts? So a lot of times do you have a rolling, like just a running set of thoughts going through your mind that are constant, and they're so constant and so automatic that you don't even think about them like not being good for you, because they're like your arms and your legs, they're just there. And so you come to accept them as a way of life. Well, I'm here to tell you, you can change that, but it takes you doing the work, so.
All right, we're gonna make a hard stop here, and for our next topic, if you would like to join in on the call, Dr. Michelle, text the number in the description, and we'll get back with you. But that will be all for today. Thank you, Dr. Michelle.
All right, thank you.
All right.
All right.
See you.
Have a great one.
All right.